Hello students, I'd like to spend a little bit of time discussing the project that we have in this course. I'm going to start here with week 1 and look at the project. And the project is related to Apollo shoes. And there are 2 files that you should have already downloaded. The first is a PDF, and it is 161 pages, so there is a tremendous amount of information here. You will not use it all in week 1, but this document will be used for each of the 5 weeks. Then there is also a spreadsheet, and this is the first tab here with the assignments, and you'll notice that there are a lot of tabs. Again, we do not use all of these in week 1. We will not even use all of these throughout the course, but these are the various tabs where we do our assignments. In week 1, you will notice here that we are going to complete the planning section for Apollo shoes. That is the planning section. Internal controls, this is for week 2, so we're only going to be looking at these assignments. And you'll see well, all of these things are items that would be done in an actual audit. We're not going to do them all. If it says no, those aren't required. So we will not be doing an engagement letter or a staffing memo. Even though those would be done in a real audit, we're not going to do them for this class. We are also not going to be looking at these. So we're only concerned with these 7 items. And there is a separate tab for each of these. Now, in the information provided on this case, it tells us that it's been designed to introduce students to the entire audit process from beginning the engagement to actually drafting the final report. Now, students are asked to assume the role of a veteran field auditor, somebody with 2 or 3 years experience actually in the field. Typically, an audit team is made up of one of the senior partners who usually does the meeting with the company's board of directors and upper management. They're involved at the very beginning, getting the audit client established as a new client, and then they're the ones who come in at the end, usually meets with the board of directors to present the final report. The rest of the team is made up of the field auditors, and there are the staff auditors. So you're to assume you've been working as a field auditor for 2 or 3 years to get some experience. This is your first opportunity to serve as the lead field auditor. So you're the one in charge when you actually go out to the client, spend a week or 2 at their facility, and gather all the information, do all the testing. So that's our assumption. So the first thing that would be done is to do an engagement letter. We're not going to do one. The second thing would probably be to do a staffing memo. Pick your staff, who's going to be going with you, making assignments, who's going to do what. Again, we don't do that for our homework. The first thing actually assigned is to do the audit plan and the general planning. You'll notice the very next tab, that's what that is. So you will come over here, and this is a template that the audit firm has prepared, and they use this for every audit client. First thing you would do is go through and make notes of what's unique to this particular client from the template, and you can see there's a whole bunch of things, but we're only going to be doing the first section, the general planning. When you get down here to trial balance, minutes, and agreement, we can stop. So you're only going to be doing the first 13 items. And I want to make a comment here under audit objectives, which is what you're going to be filling in. If you click on that, you'll notice for some reason it downloads merged, so you can't enter something. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go click on the merge to undo that. So now you can actually write on each line next to it. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to fill in audit objectives. Maybe comments if you had them. We don't have work papers yet, so we don't have that, and we haven't completed them. So as you work the plan, you would put in the work paper reference, and again, it's been merged for some reason. Same with the initials. So at this point, we're just creating the plan. As the plan is worked, you come back and put in the work paper reference number and then the initials of who completed it. So for this assignment, these two fields will still be blank. So we start with question 1. Is this a new client? Yes, they are. So you're going to want to complete and review the audit engagement. So basically what you would do is type in yes, they are. I don't know that you need any comments on that. We're not going to actually do the engagement letter to complete it here. Question 2, is this a continuing client? Well, if they're new, they can't be continuing. They either are new or continuing. They are not continuing, so no, which means you can skip A, B, C, and D and come straight to 3. 3 says we are to review the correspondence files, prior year audit work papers, permanent files, etc., etc. Now that can be found in here we go, in the PDF that we downloaded, the one with 161 pages. I would recommend in this reading the introduction, kind of what's expected. This table of contents may come in handy since there are 161 pages. We are in the planning section of this. Here we go. We have minutes from the audit committee. This is the audit committee of Apollo Shoes. So you're going to want to read through their minutes here. You're going to want to read through the letter to the shareholders. You're going to want to read through the K10. This is what's, or the 10K, excuse me, I said that backwards, the 10K. This is the form you file with the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC. So this is a very useful document, and you'll see it is quite extensive. This is going to have financial statement information from 2016. This is the audited information. So anytime you're looking for audited information, you will come to the 10K and pull the 2016. If you'll keep scrolling on down here to, I think it's page 40, 41, you will get to getting close. Minutes. So this is minutes from the Board of Directors from January 6th, 2017. Here's the minutes from the meeting June 30th, 2017. And here's the minutes from January 6th, 2018. Okay, so we're in 18, auditing 2017. So you're going to want to read through those. Meant to go back to the Excel file. So that's 3. So you're going to want to go through that. Tell me what the objective is. It doesn't have to be long, a single sentence or phrase. Gain an understanding of the company and its operations. Something simple like that. If you already see something that you want to comment on, that you want to look closely at, great. But these are just very brief descriptions of what your objective is. That's all you need to do for this tab. This is to get you familiar with the process of planning an audit. Okay. The second thing is to create relevant matters from the minutes, which relates to number 3 we just talked about. So after you've done that, you will come over to the relevant matters, and you're going to have minutes from that very first meeting. That would have been June 6th, 2017. And I had notes in front of me somewhere. Here we go. Yes, June 6th, 2017. I will give you a couple examples of some things I did just to get you started. And of course, you're going to go through the minutes from every meeting that were provided. One of the first things I noticed in looking at the January 6th was that Larry Lancaster, the chairman, president, and CEO, is a new hire. So that would be the relevant piece of information for this column. Action. Well, we might want to go research his background, make sure he has adequate experience and training to actually hold that position. Next item I noticed, that sales are expected to increase by 10%. Okay, action item. I'm going to want to go look at the information from my review of expenses to make sure the expenses have increased appropriately to generate the additional increase in revenue or in sales. One of the other things I saw was that officers' salary were increasing by 10%. So I'd list that over here in the first column. The action required, go to the payroll data and make sure that it actually is an increase of 10%. One of the other things I saw was that they authorized purchase of $1.3 million in equipment. Well, then the action would be go to the accounts payable information, look for invoices to make sure have we actually received invoices for the approved equipment purchases. So go through all of the minutes from all the meetings and see what things that you think are relevant and then what you would do during the audit. Okay, the next tab is our comparative balance sheet. So this is the balance sheet. You have assets, you have liabilities, and you have owner's equity. If you go back to our PDF, continue on past all the minutes, you will find the pre-closing trial balance. So these are the unaudited numbers. You find that we have account numbers, we have account descriptions, and then we have a debit and a credit balance. So you will use that information, you will put in all the assets, you will put in their account number, you will put in their account title, you will put in the unaudited balance from this trial balance. Then you can go back to the 10K and find the associated audited number. So these will come later as we actually recommend adjustments and come up with the audited number. Right now, all we're going to have is the audited and the unaudited number. Now, hint on the account numbers. Account number that starts with a 1 is going to be an asset. Account numbers that start with a 2 are going to be a liability. If they're a 3, they're going to be owner's equity. Okay, so you should be able to go through. You may want to look back at one of your textbooks from a previous accounting class to make sure you get all of this presented properly. Okay, the next tab that we need to do is going to be our comparative income statement. And again, it's going to have revenue, expenses, which are cost of goods sold, and operating expenses, and then there's other income and expenses, and then net income. Go back to our pre-closing trial balance. We already used the account numbers that start with 1, 2, and 3. 4s are some type of revenue. So we're going to have sales returns, warranties, income from investments. Now, income from investments are not going to go under revenue. They're going to come down here under the other. Same with the miscellaneous. Then you have your cost of goods sold, which starts with a 5. That will come in here. Then you're going to have advertising, auto expense, all of these. And then you notice down here there's some other items that may be like interest expense that aren't really operating expenses. They will come down here. You will need to decide which ones go where. Already having completed your lower level accounting classes, you should already know how to do that. If you do have some questions, you can't figure it out looking at your previous text, go ahead and respond to me with questions. Then we're going to do a cash flow statement, and then we'll skip these common size ones and go to the ratios. You'll do it for 16 and 17. Well, good luck. Email me with any questions.